What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother, Aaron, with the donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love. And he asked me a question. He asked me, who do I think are the NBA's greatest facilitators? All right? Who are the greatest facilitators in the history of basketball? Well, to me, being a great facilitator is not necessarily equal to being a great passer. To me, when you look at the definition of facilitating, it's a person who works with others to help to elevate the group as a whole. So to me, being a great facilitator essentially is being a great leader who helps to make the group come together for a common goal. And in basketball, generally speaking, that would tend to be point guards who, through their passing, basketball IQ, floor generalship, and leadership, helps to elevate the team. They make the jobs of the players around them better, and that usually leads to long-term success. When I think of that terminology, there are about three or four guys who pop up in my head. The first guy is Magic Johnson. There's no doubt about it that he was the glue that held Showtime together. Of course, Kareem did what he did, but Magic elevated that team with his leadership, passing ability, and showmanship. I would put Larry Bird in that category. I think Larry Bird was just a hair or two below Magic when it comes to passing ability, but he was a great passer in his own right. He just didn't have the ball in his hands as much as Magic, but he definitely elevated that club. People forget that he helped to set what was then the greatest turnaround record of all time. The Boston Celtics, after the retirement of John Havlicek in the 78-79 season, the Celtics fell to 29-53. In Larry Bird's first season with the Boston Celtics, they went from 29 wins to 61. Now, some of that was due to the great coaching strategy and leadership of having a brain fart here. What's the coach's name? Bill Fitch. But some of that had to do with Bill Fitch's leadership, who Larry Bird said was the greatest coach to ever coached him. But he's in that category. I would also put Oscar Robertson in that category of all-time great facilitators, the job that he had to do on those teams. In comparison to the mighty Boston Celtics and even, Will Chamberlain's teams, Oscar didn't have necessarily, and even the Lakers with the dynamic duo of Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. Oscar didn't necessarily have the best teams, but his all-around game and leadership helped to elevate them. I would also put John Stockton in this category, even though he did have Karl Malone on his team, but you can make the argument that John Stockton helped to elevate Karl Malone all those years. Now, don't get me wrong, Karl Malone made John Stockton's job a lot easier too, but if you look at John Stockton's passing, he wasn't the flashiest guy, but his pinpoint, precise passing. How many times do we see Karl Malone roll to the basket off a pinpoint pass from John Stockton, making life easier for Karl Malone? How many times have we seen that? I don't think it's just an accident that the 1 year he played without John Stockton with the Lakers, Karl Malone, he did get hurt, but he just didn't look the same. He was still a great player, but would he have scored 37,000 points had he played with another point guard who didn't have his level of play. And then another guy I think that should be in this conversation, and I think he's one of the greatest facilitators of all time. I think he should rank higher on the great facilitators list than passing list purely. And that's Jason Kidd, man. Everywhere Jason Kidd went, he helped to elevate those teams, especially in his prime. I remember when the Nets made the trade for Jason Kidd in exchange for Stephon Marbury. I think it was back in 2000, the summer of, what was it, 2002? 2001, I think it was. And that summer, many people were saying that I remember on sports radio listening to them. They said that was a mistake. Stephon's a tremendous talent. Why would you trade him for Jason Kidd? But then we saw they had an unbelievable turnaround from something like 25 wins or something to 50 and went to the NBA Finals. And he didn't play with all these great players, you know. No disrespect to Richard Jefferson. No disrespect, to Kerry Kittles. No disrespect to those guys, But Todd McCullough and what was the forward's name? Todd McCullough and having some brain farts this morning. What's the guy's name? Oh, boy. This happens when you get a little older, man. The mental file cabinet gets a little bit more cluttered. Oh, Jesus. What is this guy doing? Kenyon Martin. I'm going to pop my head. Yeah, Todd McCullough, Aaron Williams, Kenyon Martin, Keith Van Horn, I think might have still been there. Kerry Kittles, Richard Jefferson. Don't get me wrong, these were good players, but he wasn't playing with a super duper squad, But they went to back-to-back NBA Finals. So, he should be in this discussion as well. I guess you'll have to put Bob Cousy there as well. That's one of the great facilitators. And you got to look at some of the passes that Bob Cousy was making when he was playing too, man. He was doing some of those passes that guys today have difficulty pulling off in games. He was doing that in 1956, 1954. But those are some of the great facilitators that I would say have played the game. But there are some guys who have great passing numbers, but can you say that they always help to elevate their teams? There's some guys you can't say that with. And I saw that Aaron put, Jason Williams in that category, and I agree with that. Jason Williams had some nifty passes. He had some highlight reel passes, but the guy was a turnover machine. Hell, I would say that Russell was a better facilitator than him, Westbrook. I mean, look, you talk about making life easier for everybody. When he was in his prime, Kevin Durant was winning scoring titles, won an MVP award. Then, when he's not playing with another star for a while, he kept that Thunder team going at least to the playoffs without another superstar or all-star level player on the roster. Then he plays with Paul George. Paul George has the best season of his career. He plays with James Harden. James Harden averages 34 points a game. Then he plays with the Wizards, and Bradley Beal has the best season of his career. Then he plays with LeBron for a full season, and all of the bull crap that he had to deal with, Russell Westbrook. LeBron, who was 36, 37, was a hair away from becoming the oldest scoring champion in NBA history. But these are some of the greatest facilitators, I would say, that played the game. Also, Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas is one of the most underrated. He's become criminally underrated. I hate the guy. Well, that's a little bit strong to say. I dislike the guy. I do. I do think he was a snake, but his game. I mean, he could. He's possibly. I think if he was 6 or 7 inches taller, I think he'd possibly be the greatest player of all time. I don't think that's an understatement because Isiah Thomas could score on you one-on-one like a Kyrie Irving. His game would translate to today. He was a great, great one-on-one player, if need be. If need be, he could do what these guys do in one-on-one situations. You know, the basketball that LeBron says isn't really basketball. It's funny, anything that he doesn't excel at, it's not really basketball. But yeah, he could play and do the one-on-one stuff. But he was a tremendous floor general as well, and he did what the team needed. He could score one-on-one like a Kyrie Irving. He had handles, one of the best ball handlers of all time. But he could tone that down and play like a prototypical point guard and lead an offense. And you know, he could have the showy passes. Matter of fact, wasn't Isiah Thomas one of the originators of like the bounce pass or the bounce assist? Wasn't he like one of the first guys to do that? But anyway, I think he is. But that shows his great innovation as a leader. Also, you know, just being a winner, a brutal competitor. He could score. He expanded his shooting as his career progressed. If he played today, his 45% career field goal percentage would be closer to 47, 48%. There's no doubt in my mind that he would have been a great three-point shooter today if he had to actually work on that more. And I think he is possibly the greatest player never to win an MVP award. This is up there. But anyway, these are some of my great, I would say, the great facilitators of all time. I don't know if I could put Andre Miller in that category. I don't know if I could put Kevin Porter up in that category. Steve Nash. He's up there. He's up there. You know, Steve Nash is up there. I don't want to get to the point where I'm, you know, a lot of us are starting to make it seem like Steve Nash was some bum. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just don't know if he's on that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's Magic, Isaiah, and Stockton, and Cousy, and I would put Steve Nash like more on the second tier. You know what I'm saying? His 2 MVPs don't match up well with where he really should rank. That's why the counting MVPs is, to a certain extent, is not a very accurate measure of how great some of these guys are. But anyway, what their careers are. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.